Let me ask you a question. Have you accomplished those goals and those tasks that you set for yourself way back in January when it was cold out and now it's hot? Well, today we're going to talk about how to finish what you started. So don't forget to tune in. And one quick favor, subscribe to this channel and click that notification button. Every single week we upload brand new videos just for you. Let's get started. Get ready. We're going to talk about being a finisher. We are closer to the end of the year than we were to the beginning. And you remember all of those declarations and resolutions and goals, objectives you set for yourself? Well, I want to check in with you and I want to see, how are you doing? How are you doing with your goals? First of all, did you set goals? Okay, because if you haven't set any goals, then you really can't answer the question. But how are you guys doing? Have you been consistent in doing those things that you set out to do at the beginning of this year? So we're going to talk about how to take what you've written down in your journal and make it tangible, make it real, make it something that you can actually put your hands on and say, I've done that, I've finished that. Don't you like that? I know I do. I like it when I can say that I finished something. So we all like that feeling of that satisfactory feeling that we get when we finish something. The first thing I want to go over with you is the importance of choosing wisely, making wise choices, being selective. A lot of times we just are guilty of just not making the right choices. We are being led by others and their expectations on us, or we're being led by our unrealistic expectations of ourselves. And our ability to make decisions can be clouded and hampered. You know, we have to be selective in what we choose to do, because I don't know if you remember, but a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, I shared that time is the one commodity that you can't get back again. Once time is gone, people, it's gone. Time is special and time is precious. And so many times we don't choose wisely. We're not being selective about what we do. And that stops us from being finishers. Now, I know I can hear voices now. I hear you saying to me, but Lori, I have to do certain things. You know, I'm a parent. I'm taking care of I'm a caregiver for my elderly, parent. I have children. I have a home. Yes, I get it. Listen, I'm part of that group too. But you have to understand that while you have to do what you need to do, you never should lose sight of the things that you want to do. You never should lose sight of those things that are passions within you. Because if you always keep one eye on that, or keep some of your mind energy on the things that you're passionate about, you'll always make room for it. Because at the end of the day, really, we do what we want to do, right? If it's important to us, we make time. The second step is evaluate your resources. Evaluate what you're going to need to accomplish what you need to accomplish. That's really important. You know, as a Christian, I believe in the Word of God. In the Bible, it tells us, in the Gospels, Jesus talked about how when a builder is going to build, he doesn't just start building, right? He counts up the cost. He looks and he sees, he evaluates, he estimates, okay, how much is this going to cost me? How long is it going to take me? What I'm going to need before a nail is nailed. Before a nail is hammered into a wood, that has already counted up the cost. And that's what we have to do. Many times the reason we don't finish what we start is because halfway through we're like, oh, wait a minute, this was more than I thought. I didn't know it was going to take me a year. Or I didn't know that I was going to have to give this up. Or I didn't know I was going to have to start doing this. Oh, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Now, obviously, let me preface by saying there are things that come up that you can't plan for various reasons. But there's a lot that we can prepare for. For example, many people, when they set out to do something, they don't plan for setbacks. They don't plan for delays. They don't plan for discouragement. What do you do? What do you do if someone says to you, you can't do that? That can't be done. And you know in your heart of hearts that this is something you're supposed to do. This is the season to do it. It's in your heart to do it. Everything is in the right place. And you hit that person, probably someone very close to you, that says, you can't do this. Or what are you doing? This is ridiculous. You need to stop. What do you do when you've done something and it failed and it flopped? How do you respond? Do you think ahead? You need to think ahead of time. How am I going to react if this doesn't work? How am I going to respond if someone says to me, you don't need to do that? Who are the people that I need to keep in my life that will not only encourage me, but challenge me? These are things people do not think of. They don't count up the cost before they start something. And so when they start it, they hit that first stumbling block, which usually comes fairly quickly. The honeymoon stage is very quick, okay? For those of us that are married, we can tell you the honeymoon stage does not last long, right? So when you hit that first block, what do? Do you cave and you quit? Are you prepared? Is your dream built on sand so that when the storms come, it washes away? Or is your dream built on a solid foundation? I am a recovering perfectionist. Hi, my name is Lori Stansel, and I am a recovering perfectionist. I have to admit that was something that I struggled with. I struggled with wanting everything to be just right. And the reason why I struggled with that was because I took a lot of pride in what I did and do still. But I equated perfection with excellence. I got the two mixed up. And so if things weren't perfect, I looked at it as it wasn't a failure, even though it accomplished what it was supposed to do. But in my mind, it wasn't good enough. But I need you to understand that in order to be a finisher, in order to finish what you've started, you have to look at progress, which means you have to have goals and milestones that you can measure. Just like losing weight is a perfect example. Everyone's body is different. Females lose weight differently from males. Females store fat differently from males because our bodies are made to give birth. So we store fat differently. Even African American women lose weight and store fat differently from Caucasian women. So everyone's body is different. But don't get caught up and sucked into that whole cycle of mindset of being perfect, because when you do, you lose sight of the fact that you've already accomplished so much. So stop sweating the details that really don't impact the outcome. Stop sweating the details that really don't impact the outcome. So in other words, if it's cosmetic, whatever, let it go. And when we become perfectionists, we spend too much time worrying about details that really don't impact the outcome. Now, the last thing is time management. How well do you manage your time? Okay, so you chose wisely, you estimated, counted up the cost, you've evaluated your resources, you understand that progress is the focus and not necessarily perfection. Now, we don't compromise excellence for progress because we want things done correctly, but we're not going to get sucked into the vortex of perfection, right? So now that we've done all that, we can move to how do we manage our time? How do we get all this stuff done? How do we do it? Well, I'll tell you a story about myself. When I decided, one of my dreams was to go back to school to get my master's. And this was something that I had wanted to do for a long time. The door opened up for me to go back to school. And I had to count up the cost. I had to sit down with my family and I had to talk with them because I knew that my mind was not the same as it was when I was in college many years ago. I knew that the learning process had changed dramatically, and I knew that it was going to take me more effort and more time to get that A than it did before. And that meant that my family would be impacted. So I had to count the cost, and I had to sit with them, and we had to come to an agreement, and they gave me their blessing so that I was able to do it and not be concerned about how they're doing. So they had to kind of step up too for that 2-year period. And one of the things that I decided to do was I decided to stop speaking, stop taking engagements. And that was a big, big, big decision for me, because I love speaking. I love helping people. I love pouring into people. I love helping people create strategies to live their best and blessed life. As a speaker and an author, that is my heart's desire, is to help people create the life that they were born to live, and create a legacy that they can leave behind for their family and change this world, right? This world needs some help. So, but I knew that in order for me to accomplish my goal, to be done with school in 2 years and to really give it my all, I could not be divided in my attention, that I could not give my all to speaking and teaching and give my all to my studies. And so I made the decision to stop. And it was a big decision to make, but I had to manage my time. I'm not telling you to stop doing what you're supposed to do, but what I'm saying to you is be guided by that sense of peace. Be guided by your passion. And I understood that a 2-year period of time was just that, a 2-year period of time. And there was a start and there was a finish. And I knew that I would get to the end. And once I got to the end, I could resume my schedule of speakings and doing all those things that I wanted to do and had desired to do. You'll be surprised how fast your time gets eaten up doing things that aren't even important. One of the things I like to do with my clients, those who struggle with the whole concept of, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. One of the things I like to do is a little exercise that is kind of like a pain to do, but I make them do it anyway because the end result is really impactful. But I have them journal their day, like every hour. What did I do in this hour? And do it for a whole week. And then we come together and we look at what this person has done in the week. And I don't do that to judge them, okay? To judge them and make them feel less than because they're not important or whatever, because that's ridiculous. We all are significant. We all are unique and valuable. I do that so that they can see visually pockets of time that they are not using wisely. So managing your time is important. Also managing your energy, knowing when you've had enough. Quite frankly, knowing when you need to just stop. A few weeks ago, I did a live video and I shared how I had gone through a series of events where 4 loved ones had passed away very close together. And I knew as the 4th person had passed away, I knew I needed to pull back. I knew I needed to just hit that reset button. I knew I needed quiet time. I knew I needed prayer time. I knew it was very important for me to do that. And so I had to manage my time so I could pull back and take that reprieve because I so desperately needed it. Now, when you manage your time, you manage your energy, you will prevent yourself from being burned out. Did you know you could actually get sick of something that you love? Yeah. You can get sick and tired of doing something that you once loved because you're not managing your time, you're not mindful of your energy, you're not taking care of yourself spiritually, and so that very thing that once energized you actually begins to drain you, and you begin to get sick of it and burned out. And so managing your time and being aware of your energy and your spiritual level will help you. It will also help you from not being distracted, because when you're managing your time, you can clearly see, okay, I have time for this, but I don't have time for that. Okay, I can do this, but I can't do that. So you're able to prevent yourself from going down a rabbit trail and getting distracted. It was actually part 1 of a series on how to be a finisher. So next video, we're going to talk about some more things that you can do to make sure you finish what you started. And don't forget to comment if you have any questions or you want to add some insight or some information. Feel free to comment below. I would love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow this channel and subscribe so that you can see all of our new videos as soon as they're uploaded. See you next time.